Macca's Guides.
Hey, what's up guys, Macca here. We're taking a look at NERO, which released starting on May 15th on the Xbox One. I believe it's coming in at $20. I've played a bit of it and wanted to share some of my thoughts about the game, so I figured I would do so in a video. Now, there's a lot more to NERO than just its actual gameplay, so I'm going to be talking about some of those things and how they affect the world and how they affect your game experience. So it is advised that you kind of pay attention to what I'm saying and don't take the game for only what's being shown on screen. Now, very simply put, NERO is basically a first-person puzzle game, but more so than that, it's a game about telling a story. There is a large kind of focus on discovery, exploration, and storytelling, so those are kind of three themes that are important in this game. But overall, what you're doing is solving puzzles in first-person mode, and they'll have you going through a bunch of levels, doing that in order to kind of progress the story, learn new things about the game world, the characters within the game, and the actual story within the game about some of the things that happen in the world that you're exploring. Now, graphically, I think the game looks okay. It definitely has a very unique and pretty art style, but the actual assets themselves seem very sharp and a little bit harsh on the eyes, and the frame rates are some of the lowest I think I might have ever seen on the Xbox One at this current time. So you want to keep those two things in mind. If graphics are like super important to you, this might not be the best experience for you, but if you're willing to kind of let that slide, just continue listening. Moving on from that point, we can obviously talk about the audio, which I think is pretty well done. There is a lot of great ambient music playing on in the background that really does fit the experience and the general kind of vibe you get while playing this game. So there's a big thumbs up for me for the actual audio of the game. I think it's very well incorporated and does add to the experience greatly. Now, another thing I can obviously talk about are the controls, which seem okay, but they're not necessarily the greatest. One of my kind of biggest issues with the game is the speed at which you run. I think it's a little bit too slow, and even though there is a sprint button, it doesn't really increase your speed that much. So I would have preferred if I could run a little bit faster. And then there's also some kind of, you're supposed to explore in the game, but there's also some areas where you can kind of get yourself stuck between a tree and a wall. And then when that happens, you have no other choice but to go back to the main menu and then load your save, which will take you back a couple minutes sometimes. So that's unfortunate that I did actually get stuck 2 or 3 times by just wanting to explore between like a tree and a bush. Ended up pushing my character into an area I couldn't get out of, and that's unfortunate. I wish they would have maybe did a bit more quality assurance and kind of got rid of some of those issues. And there's even spelling mistakes in the game, which again is unfortunate. It would have been nice to have seen them get rid of those issues before launching it. Now, although I did explain this as a first-person puzzle game, this actually might be more well explained as a gaming experience. If you've ever played something like Dear Esther on the PC, Gone Home is another one, even the Stanley Parable would be a good example. This game kind of falls in line with those. There's no real danger at any point. You can't die, you can't get killed, there's no real enemies. There's just a few puzzles you're going through, and you're trying to kind of understand the world you're in and kind of reach the end of the story and be a part of the story without actually necessarily playing a game the way it would traditionally ask to be played, where you encounter enemies or you can die or fall off a cliff or solve a puzzle and something happens. There's no real danger at any point, and this is actually one of the most unique parts about this game, and one of the parts that I enjoyed the most was the actual kind of uniqueness of it and the actual experience itself. Now, as someone who plays a lot of games, this was actually pretty refreshing. This was a different experience, not something I've encountered for a couple months. A good palate cleanser in between the shooters and platformers and racing games we're getting on a non-stop basis. But I don't know if this is really a game that a lot of people are going to go out of their way for, especially at the price tag that they're asking. As I was saying, it does offer some cool storytelling, discovery, and exploration elements, and the graphics are very colorful with a great art style, but they aren't necessarily the highest quality. It does offer good audio, but with all that being said, it is a short experience. From what I can tell, it's going to last the average person around 3 hours. There is a little bit of replay value with collectibles and achievements in there as well, but for the general gamer, I don't know if this would be a recommendation. But for a person who really likes unique games, who is kind of looking for something different, or looking for a game that just kind of breaks the molds that we would normally and traditionally see in games, this does offer something for those people, and I would recommend at least checking it out or considering it for those people. And I will be playing it all the way through and enjoying it and getting all the achievements and collectibles. As I said, it's a unique game, and I'm glad I played it, but it's kind of hard to recommend as well at that same point. Thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you found this video informational, educational, entertaining, or any of the above. If you did, feel free to like it. You can also subscribe for more content in the future, and hopefully I see you there. Peace.
But then, a miracle happened. Oh, how I wish he could have seen her change. How her false smile became true. How his innocent light echoed through her until it ignited her very being.